Futties Lewandowski versus Futties CANTONA. Who's better? Well, let's find that out. But how are we gonna do that? We will be comparing them within multiple categories to find out which is the better card. As you can see on the screen, we'll be using a 9-point comparison system with pace all the way down to physicality. But the last 3 points are so important that the first 6 points may not even matter if you don't know the last 3, because that really affects the rating of the card. But trust me, we'll get to the last 3 later. But first, we gotta start off with the pace and work our way down to ultimately find out who's better between CANTONA and Lewandowski. So first with the pace. Now I found with Lewandowski getting in behind and using that Rapido plus. Yes, he has that. Whereas CANTONA doesn't. But the thing about this game that you have to take into consideration when it comes to rating these cards and comparing them, sometimes these cards outperform their playstyles and stats. So that's what makes it difficult. So keep that in mind. But anyway, when it came to pace, Lewandowski, if he had that step on the defense, getting in behind, running like a damn bulldog, his strength and ability to hold off some of the defenders if he has a step ahead of them is absolutely Amazon, and I love to see it. But Lewandowski doesn't have quick steps, so there were times I was getting in behind, but that initial step wasn't really that fast, so sometimes the defense had the ability to catch up, but when he hit that top speed, there was no catching him. But CANTONA, on the other hand, when he would run, the quick step plus didn't really feel like no quick step plus. I ain't gonna lie, he was still moving like a sluggish biggity with the quick step, because you gotta remember, you know, he's like 6'2", you get me? So I'm gonna say his quick step is not really that good, but his top speed is also pretty good for some odd reason, even without the Rapido plus. But when it came to the pace, I do believe that Lewandowski took the edge a little bit when he hit that top speed, for sure. Now, what about the shooting and clinicality ability between Lewandowski and CANTONA? Now, since this is the most important stat, because all they're trying to do is get that ball into the back of the net, slice and dice, header like you're clever, blast like you're fighting demons from the past, all of that, they're literally trying to get that ball into the back of the net no matter what. So we'll get to the shooting a little bit later, but let's talk about the dribbling ability. Now looky here, we'll talk about CANTONA first, then get to Lewandowski. Now, have y'all ever thought about vomiting at a moment when you played this game? Because I ain't gonna lie, with CANTONA, if you're talking about doing a little bit of that twist and turns with CANTONA, save it. He will fail you in multiple ways. That twisting and turning with this guy, he's a biggity to the max. Utmost, his twisting and turning ability is very shaky. Very annoying parts about CANTONA in this game. It was moving mad. But Lewandowski, on the other hand, felt much more responsive. He had the twisting and turning ability, not to the craziest amount, because they're both biggities. Now, could he turn like it's Messi? Absolutely not. If you're looking at a not insane dribbler, but pretty good dribbler, Lewandowski is that guy in this game when I was using it. So if we're talking about the dribbling ability comparison between, I'm giving the dribbling to Lewandowski again. Now, CANTONA still has a lot of categories to catch up, which is still possible, but so far Lewandowski is in the lead. Now let's talk about passing ability. Now CANTONA has incisive pass, regular do come cellular. So does Lewandowski. But when they were passing at the same time, I was gonna add this in terms of who's gonna be able to get the passes off easier because of their twisting and turning ability. But technically, that doesn't really make sense. I would just say, in terms of them making completed passes, I found both of them were on pretty much the same level. Only when it came to making some kind of long passes, I did see a little bit of shakiness from Lewandowski, and that's probably due to his low rating of his long pass for the advanced stats of the passing. Versus CANTONA's is more balanced, even though they have the same passing rating. So when it comes to the passing ability, I'm gonna have to give this to CANTONA 2-1, but there's still more to go, which are very important as well. Now here's a very important metric for a biggity striker, and that's physicality. And let me tell you something, when I was using Lewandowski with the physicality part, he's just a beauty. Yeah. Let me tell you something, his physicality in terms of aerial threat, oh yes, look at here. If he contested against maybe Van Dijk, he was actually able to contest against Van Dijk when it comes to headers, or a player like Van Dijk, because he's a biggity and can jump with aerial plus. If the defender was off balance and had a bad jump, he is dunking on him like LeBron James, flying like an eagle, and slam, you get me? But there are multiple parts to physicality that you have to know, which is the stamina. Can he run for days and still get in behind with the pace? Also the strength, being able to hold off defenders when getting in behind or shielding the pilota or the ball. And I'll let you know about that for both of them. You already know about the jumping for Lewandowski, but what about CANTONA? Unfortunately, when it came to the jumping, CANTONA was definitely lower in that metric. CANTONA only has lower jumping stats. It also felt like that in the game because he doesn't have no type of aerial. So when he went against some of them biggity defenders that have aerial regular or plus, it would be, even though he had the momentum to jump, it would be like this stalemate animation to where the header doesn't really go anywhere and it doesn't really travel because he doesn't have aerial. But if he was able to win the ball with no contest, his heading accuracy is definitely good enough to do so. But in terms of strength, moving like a damn animal, like a damn gorilla, oh, you will be moving like a damn gorilla, you get me? damn. I ain't gonna lie to you. CANTONA, with the brute strength, I felt he had more of it. When he would get in behind, shield players hold that L2 with him. He was holding off them strong defenders. For example, like an Antonio Runiga. He has that type of strength. I think CANTONA with the strength part takes that over Lewandowski. Now the stamina. I found that both of them actually had the same type of stamina. There was not too much of a difference. They weren't like so much slower than one another when it came towards the end of the game. So with that being said, for the full physicality, who do I take over? I would say I would take this card only because when it came to the strength, CANTONA wasn't way stronger than Lewandowski. But when it came to the heading ability, Lewandowski was way better than CANTONA. So I'm gonna give physicality to Robert Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski is now up 3-1, but there's still more. Don't forget about the last 3 things that are very important that these may not even matter if you don't know about those. Now let's talk about the defense with these guys. Now for their defensive capability, it's very important that you know, I don't give a damn about no damn defense. They're strikers. So for defense, we just give it to both. Now, one of the few things we've all been waiting for, that's that shooting ability. Who is better with clinicality? Who has the better shot animation? What about the shooting playstyle? We'll get all into that. So let's start with CANTONA this time. Now I found with his shooting animations, he's an odd biggity. Sometimes his animations feel delayed, so it's harder if you're a guy that likes the green time, which I think is very crucial in this game. His animations are very sluggish sometimes when you want to shoot, and it messes up with your timing. So you gotta be more focused on shooting when you use CANTONA. He has some weird animations, but does that ball fly into the back of the net when you time it correctly? Absolutely. When I would green time cross shot with CANTONA, that is what fly in the back of the net. If you get a good shot angle and hit the trivela like you're watching a telenovela fly into the back of the net, he's ridiculous with the trivela. But the animations be moving a little bit sluggish, so it's hard to time sometimes. He also has the power header, which I found to be very nice when he got his ability to actually win the ball in the air. CANTONA also has the finesse like Messi. Regular, don't call myself. So does Robert Lewandowski. A lot of the shooting playstyles Lewandowski has and CANTONA, but there's one shooting playstyle that Lewandowski has that's better than CANTONA. CANTONA has regular, don't call myself power shot. Lewandowski has power shot plus. And when it came to the clinicality ability of Robert Lewandowski, I felt his animations weren't as sluggish, so you can get them off better. You can also shoot them much faster and it will not glitch. His finesse like Messi was ridiculous, flying into the back of the net like it was nothing to him. I was like, wow. Now, if you're looking for a card that's gonna get you more goals and score you more chances if they're in the right position, I did find with the clinicality ability, I found Robert Lewandowski was better. Robert Lewandowski is very much so up, but there's still important things we have to get to. And the first thing that's very important that you would need to know, obviously, is how these cards can fit into your club, right? And Robert Lewandowski, the problem with him is that you can only link him in the La Liga Polish players. His links are very poor. So obviously with this one right here, I'm gonna have to give the chemistry straight up to CANTONA. Now the playstyles. Which playstyles will work best for you using these biggity cards? From what I believe, who has the better playstyles fitting for the card? I do believe. So I'm gonna give the playstyles straight up to Robert Lewandowski. He has the better playstyles for his build. And now we get to the most important thing in the comparison. Because as you can look at it, Robert Lewandowski has the lead. But we also have to figure out if these cards are wondrous, mid, or doo-doo. Should they even enter into your club, even though they're being compared to one another? Because you're trying to figure out who you want to get over one another. And I'll let you know that. When it comes to CANTONA, we'll talk about him first, since he lost to Lewandowski already. CANTONA, for me, using this card, between doo-doo, mudu, mid, midris, and wondrous, I'm gonna put CANTONA in the category of mid. Yes, I said it. Because of that dribbling ability being so lackluster and poor at times, where I want to twist and turn, and I'm playing against an aggressive defender that likes to attack and they can read your moves, and you don't have enough time to move, and you have a biggity that can't twist and turn fast enough, it's very garbage for me. And that's what I think can happen for you if you go against those aggressive defenders. And that can stop you from either getting a higher rank because of that movement from CANTONA. So I don't actually think this is the best option as a striker for you. But what about Robert Lewandowski? Is this a great striker option to have? Before I show you that, let me show you CANTONA's games played and goals scored. In CANTONA's 23 games played, he has scored 26 goals, which is actually pretty good for a mid card because he has more goals than games. But we're gonna look at what Robert Lewandowski has done in his game. In Robert Lewandowski's 21 games played, he has scored 36 goals, a whopping 36. Whoa! So in this comparison, I would say that Robert Lewandowski is actually a wondrous striker for you. And I do think you should pick him up if you can. But there's something else that I think you should definitely look at, and that is subscribing and turning on post notifications if you enjoyed the video so far. And also figuring out the most broken card that you probably already own in your club that you can evo right here. Adios, amigo.